Are you ready to dive into shadow work, but you're unsure where to start? Now, before you begin, it's crucial to be aware of some common pitfalls that come with shadow work that can actually derail your inner healing journey. And in this video, I want to share with you some of the common mistakes that people make when they start shadow work and also how to avoid them so you can really make the most out of your shadow work journey, because shadow work is truly a powerful journey for deep inner healing, to really rediscover your true authentic self and also to release a lot of the stuff that is actually holding you back, limiting you, and causing you to not experience the life that you would love to live, whether it's more joy, more happiness, more success, or anything that you would like to experience. If you're feeling stuck in your life, then shadow work is a powerful process to help you actually get unstuck and create a life of more happiness, success, abundance, freedom, whatever it is that you desire. So let me share with you those common mistakes that people tend to make when they start shadow work. The first mistake is expecting immediate results. The thing with shadow work is it is a journey. It is not a destination you want to just get to, but it is a journey. It is an ongoing process. It requires time and also patience, because some of those shadow aspects, they may take a little longer for you to become aware of, to uncover, and then to work through. So that's why you can't really expect immediate results, or that you just take a weekend and do shadow work and then you're good. You don't have to do shadow work anymore. No, shadow work is really an ongoing process, because oftentimes these shadow aspects, they come to the forefront whenever you are moving forward, whenever you are in motion, whenever you're trying to go after what you want, or try to manifest things, or change your life, or do anything that is outside of your comfort zone, or even just contemplating about wanting to do something that is outside of your comfort zone. That's usually when those shadow aspects peek their head and try to derail you, try to get in your way, hold you back, sabotage you, and things like that. So that's why shadow work is an ongoing process, and it also requires your dedication, your patience, and also your commitment. So here, a suggestion would be is really see shadow work more so as a journey that you continue to walk up on, instead of just a destination that you want to get to. Because when it comes to shadow work, it's not something that you get to, but it's a continuous evolution of inner growth, inner discovery, then inner healing, and inner growth and transformation. Then the second mistake is avoiding professional help. Now, this is especially important whenever you're working through some intense traumatic events or some deep emotional woundings that can actually cause you to feel quite overwhelmed, where maybe you feel like you don't want to touch that because it's just too intense. You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to deal with it. You just kind of put it into Pandora's box and you put it away and you don't want to deal with it. That is when it's ideal to work with someone. So a lot of people, they think they have to do shadow work all on their own. And yes, shadow work is a powerful process that you can do on your own, and that you should also do on your own to a certain extent. But when it comes to those really deeply emotional wounds and scarring and the trauma, those things you may really want to seek support from a professional, whether it's a counselor, a therapist, or even a spiritual guide or a healer that can assist you with shadow work, with a deep inner healing, because some of those things are just maybe too traumatizing for you to work through on your own. And here a suggestion would be is, if there's anything that you're working through that you feel it's quite overwhelming, that you're really even resisting to go to touch, to work through, then those things would be ideal that you're seeking help. And you don't need to work with someone all the time, but it could be that just certain things that you're working through, that for that you may seek help. Now, like I said, this can be like a therapist, a counselor, or if you want to go more the spiritual route, you can also work with a spiritual healer, a spiritual guide, a spiritual mentor, a spiritual coach that can also guide you on really in a gentle way, uncovering what are those shadow aspects and then heal and clear them. Now, I'm a big advocate for spiritual healing, because then you're healing on a deep emotional and energetic level as well. So here, if you would like my help, I would love to assist you in helping you overcome overcome your shadow aspect. So here, if you would like to book maybe a discovery session so we can talk a little bit more about what's going on in your life, what you're struggling with, and then we can discuss how I can potentially support you on your inner healing journey. So if that's of interest to you, there's a link in the description below for you to book a discovery session. So that will be a good starting point for you to start seeking help. Or if it's not me, then maybe look for a counselor or look for a therapist or look for someone that you feel in resonance with that can help you with deep inner shadow work. Then the third mistake is diving too deep, too soon, and too quickly. Now, a lot of those shadow aspects, a lot of those shadow woundings, the deep emotional woundings, if you go too deep, too fast, you can actually overwhelm yourself where it's just so much that you're, for one, you're kind of shutting down, or you're being so emotionally overwhelmed that you're kind of going down the rabbit hole of all kind of emotional turmoil that can then actually also lead to emotional, spiritual, mental, and physical burnout as well. Now, some people, they think they have to just confront their shadows, but that is actually not beneficial, because if you're confronting all of your shadows, you're just kind of diving right in, you can really overwhelm yourself. And especially if it's those intense things. Yes, if something comes up and you're noticing that your shadow is being triggered, yes, of course, pay attention to that and then do your work in the moment. Do the shadow work in the moment. But what I'm talking about here is those deep shadow aspects, the deep wounding. If you're diving into those right away, too quickly and too deep, you can overwhelm yourself and you can actually re-traumatize yourself. So for those really intense things, my suggestion would be is ease into that. Right? You don't want to just go right into it, to the core of it, but no, like ease into it. You can tune into like, okay, what am I feeling about this? What else is there? What else is triggering me around this? So really easing into the core of things rather than just diving right into it. Because oftentimes when you're trying to dive right in, there's also then massive resistance, because a part of you knows that if I dive into it, oh my God, that's going to be re-traumatizing. So I'm not even going to go there. So you may then actually also look for distractions and resist things and things like that. And you're not actually then doing the work, or you're then really diving deep into it. And then you're kind of really, it's like you're ripping open the wound again. And can be very traumatizing again. So here, ease into things. That would be ideal. Easing into things, or like I said, then maybe seeking support if it is too intense to deal with. Then the fourth mistake is focusing only on the negative aspects. When we're talking about shadow work, there are, the shadow aspects, but then each shadow also holds a gift. It holds something positive, because you're learning something. Every gift holds a message, a lesson, or a gift. And by you working through your shadow aspects, allowing yourself to uncover, well, what's the message here? What's the lesson here? What's the gift here? And then integrating that would be ideal. But a lot of people, they think they just got to focus on the shadow. They just got to focus on a negative thing. And that is actually not serving you, because then you're just staying in a constant negative state, and it's actually counterproductive. Because when it comes to shadow work, yes, you have to work with the shadow aspect, but that's not the whole part of this. You also need to integrate the good parts, the gift of the shadow. You want to have that balanced approach. Because if you're only focusing on a negative, you're missing the most important aspect of shadow work, which is integrating the gift. That's why you can't just focus on negative, but you need to focus on both. Yes, the negative is what helps you then do the shadow work, because that's what helps you uncover what's really going on. But then you want to then really focus on also integrating the gift, because then you're releasing the shadow aspects, because you're integrating the gift. You're taking the positive with you, you're integrating that, and then you're letting go of the negative. That is really the core of shadow work. It's not just about uncovering all these negative things about you or the limiting aspects about you. No, that's just the starting point. You want to then focus on the positive by integrating the gift. Then the fifth mistake is being too critical or judgmental about the things that you're uncovering. When it comes to shadow work, yes, you are uncovering limiting aspects about yourself, negative aspects about yourself, things that you don't necessarily like. I mean, they're the shadow aspects, right? But if you're then being too critical about what you're uncovering or too judgmental about it, and maybe you're resisting it, you're rejecting it, you're not liking it, and if you're really negative about what you're uncovering, you're also missing a very important part about shadow work, because shadow work, you're meant to go about this with an open heart, with a loving heart, with a compassionate heart, and also with an open mind. So whatever you're uncovering, you should never judge any of that, because these shadow aspects, they supported you, they helped you in a certain way. You have embodied those shadow aspects because at that point when you did, they served you in a way, they helped you, they protected you. Think of it like that. When you as a child, if you would have touched the stove, you're like, ooh, that hurt. I'm not going to do that. Maybe if you're going to be a little courageous, like, yeah, let me touch it again, see if it still hurts. You're like, oh, okay, I learned my lesson. So I'm going to create a shadow aspect that knows that I cannot touch that. This is how a shadow aspect is created. It's a limited aspect in a way, but it's keeping you safe. Now, yes, this shadow aspect could then actually play out that you never want to touch the stove ever again, and you don't ever want to cook or anything like that. That would be the negative aspect about that, right? But in that moment when you burned your hand, you ingrained that, okay, if I touch the stove, I'm going to hurt myself. So I'm not going to do that. So this is just a simple example, but this is basically how things work, right? Something happens and you embody certain beliefs to protect you, to keep you safe. So if you're uncovering any shadow aspects of, for example, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, and you ingrained those things because of something that happened earlier on that made you believe that, so you ingrained that, so you developed these shadow aspects to protect you. Now, you want to uncover those, and here you don't want to judge anything that you're uncovering. You don't want to be critical about what you're uncovering. You want to be grateful that whenever you are uncovering those things, great, now I know this, so now I can heal and clear that. Because when it comes to shadow work, it's about discovering those shadow aspects about you, those limiting aspects about you, the limiting beliefs, the woundings and things like that. Because if you don't become aware of them, they're still there, they're playing out in the background. And then they're running on autopilot and you're just simply not aware of them, but they're still negatively affecting your life. But when you are becoming aware of them, instead of judging yourself or being mad about it, be grateful, because now you have the awareness, and with awareness always comes the power of choice, so you can do something about it. Without awareness, the stuff is still there, still affecting you, you just can't do anything about it. But with the awareness, then you have the power to do something about it. So that's why never be judgmental or critical about the things that you uncover. Instead, be grateful, be excited, because now you can heal it, you can clear it, you can transcend it. You can work through the shadow aspect. You can uncover the gift and let go of the shadow aspect, the limited part of you, and then take with you the gift. Embody that. Take different actions and moving forward. So shadow work should really be done with an open heart, a gentle heart, and an open mind. Never judging yourself or being critical about yourself or what you're uncovering. Instead, be grateful. Be excited of what you're uncovering, because then you have the power to do something about it. Then the sixth mistake is neglecting the integration after discovery. Anytime you are uncovering a shadow aspect and you're doing the work, you're uncovering the gift, you have to then integrate your discovery. You have to integrate the gift. It's not just enough to acknowledge that, okay, this is the shadow aspect, this is the gift about it, cool, got it, yeah, right? No, this is not enough, because you want to then integrate the gift and then take different actions. So here, going back to the example about burning your hand on the stove and then you don't want to cook anymore. When you're uncovering that, okay, well, back in the day, I burned my hand a couple of times, so I don't want to cook anymore because, well, I could burn myself again. Well, that is a limited aspect, right? So as you're working through that, you're uncovering that, well, I don't want to get hurt again. And the hurt, it doesn't necessarily need to be literal about, burning your hand, but just being hurt in any other way. And you want to really uncover what is the gift behind that message, because maybe something else happened during that time that actually is the real reason why you felt hurt. Not because you literally touched the stove, but maybe something happened when you touched the stove that around you that had you associate pain with cooking. So here, when you uncover that, okay, I'm going to take that with me. And then you want to then take different actions. That, you know what, cooking in itself isn't dangerous, right? As long as you don't literally touch the stove, then you can cook. And then here you can take the different actions. Like, okay, cooking actually is quite safe. So I'm going to start cooking again. Right? So you want to integrate it, not just like, okay, well, you know, cooking is actually pretty safe and then not do anything about it. You want to also take different actions. That is the key. You want to integrate the insights that you gained from doing your shadow work. Or otherwise, shadow work is really not going to make much of a difference in your life if you're not integrating it and then taking different actions. So here, when you're doing shadow work, and you're uncovering the message, the lesson, and gift, be sure that you then also take different actions afterwards. You want to integrate that. And sometimes it also can take you some time to really integrate the understanding. And here, journaling about that or meditating about what you're uncovering can be very helpful for you to then really integrate it, to really have a deeper understanding about the gift within the shadow. But then, like I said, you want to also take different actions than moving forward. So here are the most common mistakes that people tend to make when starting their shadow work journey. I really hope that I was able to give you some insights into that to help you really avoid these pitfalls. And I want to invite you to consider, as you're now starting your shadow work journey or as you continue your shadow work journey, contemplate about those mistakes that I just shared with you and see where are you potentially making those mistakes. And I also gave you some tips of how to avoid them. So here, maybe contemplate about that as well. And then maybe take different actions as well. But I'm curious to know, do any of those mistakes resonate with you? Do you notice that maybe you are making any of those mistakes? Leave me a comment below, let me know. I would love to know. But thank you so much for being here. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a favor, hit the like button. Also, be sure to check out these two videos here. One is about the common misconceptions about shadow work, and another one about the importance of community on your spiritual journey. So thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, make an amazingly abundant and joyful day. Namaste.